Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you are listening to us. This is one of the first small podcasts that we are recording for Eco Beach City. First of all, thank you very much, Stephen and Cesare, for being here for this 15-20 minutes, sharing your knowledge and experience about the project. Can you present what you do?
Sure.
Who are you? Yeah.
Should I go first? So first of all, thanks for having us, Carlos. It's a real pleasure. So my name is Steven. I'm 32 years old, living in Germany, born and raised in Berlin. I have quite a long past in building operation teams. So I worked for different marketplaces for almost a decade, leading operation teams there in whole Europe. But then at a certain point, I decided that I want to leave the enterprise corporate world, doing something on my own together with Cesare, which we work together since 8 years in the same company. So we know each other for quite a while, and we decided we want to do something different, and we started a bit our indie hacking journey. Almost a year ago.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing. That's all right.
And so similar to what Steven just said, I think my journey started 15 years ago. I think I had my first product and the startup, engineering background, and worked for small, big startups companies, and we got few exit even as an employee. And and in the last 12 months, I focused more on the building side together with Steven, and we launched roughly more than 20 products, some successfully, some less successfully, but that's our journey so far.
Wow, so many. That's very
Yeah.
interesting. Do you think, because that's a huge number of projects, now, before we said that it was difficult to build things, now with different AI tools, it's less difficult, easier and faster. And now everybody said that the difficult thing is to get the customer, right? How do you get, because everybody now is like launching things, but the difficult thing is make someone pay, for what you build. How do you get your first customer when you build something?
Yeah, I can jump on. Right now, I think the best way to do it, in my opinion, of course, it depends by the product and the target group. But let's say 70 to 80%, you can find your first adopters on Reddit. I think that's the shortcut, at least for us.
Reddit, is very interesting because a lot of people, at least, for example, when a lot of customers that we get mostly from Spain and France, they're not so used to Reddit. It's like for everybody that don't know, Reddit is like a forum, right? Like focus more in in everything, but there is like tech niche and like channels. The problem, because maybe some people have feel the same like me, is like when you try to do like some spam, you are banned. So I suppose you need to have like the hot account that is already like kind of old and look like natural, correct?
Exactly. So when you are looking for an easy channel, it's definitely not Reddit. Let's be honest. It's quite a delicate and special thing there. So as you said, it's really like kind of a forum, and it's basically people talking about their daily problems and their daily emotions and how they feel in specific situations, which is gold for every builder, right? Because you have so many problems there. So it's also great for discovery, by the way. But in general, you need to develop kind of a sense of how people behave on Reddit, what they like on Reddit, what's the language they speak on Reddit. So it's quite emotional. It's quite around a problem. You need to kind of identify with them. So it's also important to find the right subreddits to understand kind of the life of a subreddit and then really jump into it. So it will never work if you just go there, you create your profile, you just post your link and say, here I am, please buy my product. You will be banned in 2 minutes, that's for sure. But if you really try to identify with the people, jump on it, also, create a bit of a story and talk around the problem which you are really solving with your product, we saw some great outcomes there.
Wow, interesting. I have seen that there is now like new platforms that help you to get customer via Reddit if you pay them. I don't know how they do it. Is they sell account or they do it automatically with you? Have you tried any of these tools or not? because it's not natural.
No, not really, not yet. But I've seen. I think I've seen a couple of products that goes into this Reddit marketing. But I would say for us, it really helped to get banned first, because you have to go through
Know the
that.
limits.
You have to go through that to understand the do's and don'ts. So you have to, let's say, practice a bit the angle of communication, and the test the water, because otherwise you will just collect bans for all the profiles you have. And at some point, Reddit is so let's say hardcore that it will even block your IP, and that it's a real problem, because then it's complicated to handle.
Makes sense. Do you think people need to know how to code if they want to have like a great product? Because I mean, for create like an MVP, like the more simple and basic thing is kind of easier now. But later on, when users are asking more like features, maybe some AI tools are like some limited at the moment, or you don't know how to connect Google. Well, now Google Authenticator is like to register is possible with some, but there is some limitation. So I ask you this, and at the same time, how important is to build at the same time that getting customer? It's better like first a first version and later the first customer, or at the same time, or you need to finish the product until you get the first customer? How do you do it?
You want to start, Steven?
Please go first. You are the builder of my heart.
I think starting from your first question, it is definitely better and helpful if you have engineering background. Let's be honest. Why? Even by talking to the, let's say you're using any sort of AI tool to support you with coding, still knowing what to ask and knowing what to test and describing the use cases, it is, I would say, very important to know what to do and how, and how to approach this conversation with the AI, because otherwise sometimes you can end up in a small issue that could be solved by jumping right away into the code. While if you are a 100% no code person, well, you end up in this loop forever. Of course, now with the latest AI models, this is getting better, but still having a general understanding of what you're doing and why, it's always helpful in a way. And regarding your second question, I would say the earlier the best to have the customers. I think it's very crucial to go out with whatever you have. Many says that if you are not, if you are satisfied with what you go out with, it's already too late. You need to be disappointed by your first product and the customers. And I think what is really important is to have a product that solves one problem somehow, and then really listen to users' feedback and build from there. Because otherwise, the risk is that you're building something for nobody with a tons of features that solves nothing, and that's a nightmare for any builder of any time in the history.
I think that's sorry to just add, because we see this so many times on X and also while exchanging with other founders. I think that's one of the most crucial things to ship fast and to not build a monster in your room, because it makes everything more difficult. I mean, first of all, you just build on hypothesis. You never talk to a user, right? So it's just in your head. You never know how the user really will react. So you need to interact with the user as fast as possible. And in terms of distribution, as Cesare said, if you solve one clear problem, you have one clear target group. If your problem is already kind of tackling problems, who's your target group, right? So it makes everything more difficult. Also in terms of this, you see so many people who build something great. It's amazing, but they never shipped and they never heard real customer feedback. And I normally say then, if you don't ship, you are just a very smart person having coding as a hobby.
Yeah, makes sense. People need to eat.
Building a business.
And how is the process getting that like feedback from like customer user? How do you do it? Like via Twitter asking people, or having like a pop-up or something like tell us if there is any bug, or what would you like to improve? How do you do that process?
Yeah. So first of all, as said, we ship fast. We try to create initial traffic, so to just get people to see the product, because that's the base for getting feedback, right? As Cesare said, for right now, Reddit is working quite good for us. And then small hack, what we did, every product has a small WhatsApp toggle on the right lower corner. It goes directly to our phone. So this worked best for us, because one thing also, what we found out, forget that people will write you an email and saying like, oh, I discovered this, or I think that. They are not doing it. But WhatsApp, it's a tool which they use anyways many hours a day. They always have their phone on hand, and it's kind of handy, and they just shoot small messages, and it allows you to have very direct communication straight away. It also feels way more personal immediately than with any email. You know, it's not this dear Mr. and Mrs. or whatsoever. It's just, hey, I found something, I have a feedback for you. You can jump on it. Works insanely well to validate, to have real customer interaction, and to also build personal relationships. And for plenty of products, we have customers now which drop us just random messages, and we talk to them, and it's so insightful. I think that was a very big learning along the way.
Makes sense. So I suppose you have like the WhatsApp logo there, so people can click, and if like the product like become like crazy, which is like a good problem, lot of message, you remove it and you like introduce another way to contact you. Yeah, right, because you know it would be a lot of like message, but it's kind of cool because people can contact, and maybe they are asking for a feature that you don't have, or yeah.
Right. And even I would say, even when you have, let's say, some paying customers and you have a cancellation flow, they will still write you and say, hey, I want to cancel my plan. And that is actually a very, very good entry point to just ask for a feedback, because then you say, hey, what is going on? How do you like it? What is happening? Why? Can we maybe prolong your staying by, I don't know, 2 weeks for free or something? So that's something really helpful also to understand the churn. So not only for the initial feedback, but also the feedback along the way of the user journey.
Make a lot of sense. That it's like a bad news that someone want to cancel, for example, but at least you want to win to earn the feedback about if it's a price problem or a bug problem or something. And
Absolutely.
claro, that's very, yeah, it's very valuable. How do you end up building like AI Kaza design? Like, do you have like experience, or you are very fan of hospitality or real estate or like home design? How does it work? How does it start? Yeah.
I used to work for a marketplace for a home, like interior designers and architecture. So I would say that I was kind of in the field, but ultimately I think it was probably the first product that in the last 12 months I wanted to play with, mostly because of technology. So we didn't have the right approach, to be honest. It was just seeing competition, seeing what the technology nowadays can deliver, and try to apply to a problem, which is completely wrong if I take a look at that right now. But somehow it worked, and the validation was coming from the market itself. It's something that we didn't start, so we've seen a lot of players in the field, and we say, okay, maybe we can do it better, maybe we can do it different, and that's where we are right now. Our position is a product that is not reinventing the wheel, but it's doing it 1% better than competition, and that's already enough. Also, in a market that the others are not strong enough, which is basically mostly Italy, Germany, and German-speaking countries, and that's let's say the reason why we started the Kaza design.
And back then we had wrong one assumption, because we knew one thing, at least in Western Europe and also in the US. We knew that real estate agents are on average above 50. And this led to the assumption that not playing stereotypes here, but the assumption was that they miss a bit this whole AI bubble and AI trend, and they will not be the first ones who jump on the new possibilities, right? Because the target group wasn't clearly like a 23-year-old tech-savvy person. So we knew the target group is somewhere else, and the assumption basically was that there's enough room to present them the new opportunities with new technology, and with technology they didn't knew so far. This was another assumption. As Cesare said, today we maybe would validate differently because we just jumped into building back then. But thanks God, somehow it worked.
You mentioned something interesting. That is like understanding your customer in the sense of like sometimes we are building something for people like us. Imagine I am 35 and we think everybody is like me and we are our customer, but maybe the customer or the people interested are like 50 and the UX should be like different or easier or other colors. And that's very, very important. Also the language. And here there is, I think, because Twitter, I go to Twitter to find like different ideas. And I saw exactly that there is what you mentioned, like other players doing like similar things. So which is the point? I mean, for sometimes it's good to share your project so you have like feedback, but sometimes, of course, can make to be so public and so like I want to share everything that a lot of people, and now with AI is even easier, like can copy you in 1 week. So do you think it's a very good idea? Like, okay, I want to like share everything. And since day one, building some more people will do the same thing or not? Because if I want to get customers from Twitter or from Reddit, maybe also they can copy me. Where is the balance and the limit about sharing a lot or not?
To me, maybe Cesare has a different opinion on it, but in the past, I was super scared about talking ideas and stuff. But along the way, I found out the world is so big and there are so many opportunities. Normally, it brings more chances to talk openly about the stuff you are doing than hiding anything or whatsoever. Because, I mean, you never know. Every conversation you have could be an opportunity for your business in terms of someone knows someone, or I have a friend who is working in this industry, or you never know. So at least what I do, and I honestly, I think Cesare is doing the same. Full transparency on things, and I also try to use basically every conversation I have. I'm not trying to force it, but if someone asks, I speak clearly and openly about it. And sometimes really interesting things pop up out of coincidence because someone is really saying, oh, that's so interesting. I have a friend who is building in this area or whatsoever. You should have a call with him. And sure, someone could copy you, but in the end, you also need to be a bit confident that you are professional, you have great skills, you are building great things. And even if someone copies you, just do it 1% better and he will not be a threat.
Very, very interesting. Cesare?
Yeah,
Do you have the same opinion?
yeah, I think it's as Steven said, it's always very good to share from the beginning. But there is a but. I think you can share up to 90%, and the 10% is a secret. And with 10%, I mean the engine of what you are doing. So
Yeah,
everybody can actually copy everything nowadays. But for example, for Kaza design, I think we spent more than it wasn't just something we built overnight. We had to find the right engine behind, so APIs and the best prompt and the best way to achieve what we wanted to achieve. That is something you cannot share because otherwise you're selling your product basically for free. On the other side, if you, for example, see that there is no competition, unless it's a brand new, let's say, technology, it's almost a bad signal, which means that there is no demand. So I would say competition is great, even if there is product like yours. But at the same time, I think today UX rules the market, and you can always make the difference. And of course, as Steven said, the market is so big that you can actually ship 10 times the same product, market it 10 times differently, and you can still have 10 times size the paying customers that you have for the first. So As I said,
Yeah.
90% you can share, 10% it's your secret, because otherwise
It's like
it's
everybody
Maybe
cook pizza, but the secret is in the sauce, right? And you
Yeah.
don't mention that part.
exactly. Maybe as a small rule of thumb, talk a lot about the why, talk a lot about the what, but don't talk too much about the how you do it. Maybe as a very easy rule of thumb.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. One interesting thing, I love Twitter and the community that is there, because it's like the newspaper that we created and the connection that we can, make with. That's the reason now we are trying and building, like we bought Alani in Sumba, Indonesia, as I mentioned to you, and we have our goal to create like a very huge community. I mentioned to you this to ask you, how would you think it should be a place, a community, like fit, like a lot of content, and even all the time that they are building that, what a community should have, for being a very nice place. So when you are leaving, you're already like missing that. How would you create that if it were your project? What would you add?
That's a very difficult question. First of all, I mean, you're building the dream, right? I think many of us who start this journey have this goal of at least leaving the European winter to the other side of the world. No, but jokes aside, I think one, and that's why also many founders meet each other on X. The knowledge exchange is invaluable, and learning how other founders are doing it, learning how other founders have a view on different things, and having this constant knowledge exchange, I think is very, very crucial, especially taking into account that many founders come straight from university. They didn't saw 10, 15, 20 years of corporate life or whatsoever. So everything is quite new. Everything is maybe also a bit overwhelming from time to time. It still is for us. I mean, every day we face some challenges where we think like, oh, what the F, punkt, punkt, punkt. So I think driving and forcing this exchange could be something which would be invaluable for the thing you build in very different formats. I don't know. This podcast is a great beginning. Having town halls, having daily exchange rounds at the beach. I don't know, but sharing this knowledge and making people understand that sharing knowledge is something which is not a threat. It's something which will always bring value back to you. I think that's something which will be really, really a big plus for your community.
Thank you, Steven. Yeah, we say in Indonesia, we say that when people believe a lot, mainly in Bali, about karma, right? That the more I give, the more I'm going to receive. Because, I mean, we are what we do, what we think. And yeah, that's one of the reasons that we are doing this. And last but not least, Cesare, having also, and Steven, where do you think like your projects are? Because we haven't talked about other projects because you have a lot of them, but where do you think like AI is heading? Like, can AI Kaza design like grow as fast as AI? How do you see this project in the future? Why do you recommend people to use it? Like a last thing, to make like good promotion about what you are doing, which is great. Yeah.
So Kaza Design, I think, has a special target, which probably is not really the target group of this round. But I think Kaza Design is growing into the direction of helping real estate agents to showcase and to master social and content for the platform. So the more AI grows, the more possibilities to let's say make these steps effortless will become. So on the other end, beside that, I think another tool that we are pushing quite a lot lately is jobalert.world, which is something that is freshly born. It has 4 weeks old stage right now, and that is something that I see right now getting a lot of traction. More, let's say, compared to Kaza design, and that's because of the current market state. I mean, the situation in the market is complicated. There is a lot of demand, and people want to apply to job as fast as possible in order to get in front of HR and companies and being noticed. That, I think, it's something that it might be more interesting for this group, for this round, for whoever is searching for freelance jobs or aside gigs to sustain this indie hacking growth and process. But that's definitely something that will grow with AI, because we like it or not, AI is a great support, but also something that it's taking from the community as well, because making things faster means also using less human resources, and that means also taking place of a lot of people that are a little bit let's say behind in terms of AI usage, or in general. So yeah, good or not, I think AI is great, but we need to always keep an eye on what can replace in the long run, and that's a clear, unfortunately or fortunately, situation that makes human beings iterate on what they are doing. So yeah.
Wow. Nice. I think it's not like an option. I think humans, we need to like update our knowledge every month, because if not, we're gonna be like lower than the media, because everything is like growing fast. And it's the same thing that you don't update your phone in like 2-3 years, it can be obsolete, So we need to do it, because we're gonna be behind. And yet, the job alert, there is now a lot of like new unicorn startup, which is super nice, because everybody is all the time. Most of the people are looking for like new jobs or better paid or better condition, and that's something that is never gonna stop, And of course, will be a lot of new startups, but there is like market for everyone. I mean, there is 195 countries, right? Or 94. I don't know, North Korea, we can't. But yeah, and we have like a newsletter with more than 100,000 people, and around 1,000 of them are real estate agents. So maybe not only people can look for job with you, and also like for real estate agent, I want to use AI Kaza design. Maybe it makes sense.
Amazing. This sounds really cool. And as Cesare said, I mean, also with AI Kaza, and this guides us for many of our products. AI gives great advantage to be faster than before, to make things more convenient than before, and to make things cheaper than before. And this is exactly what we also try to do with AI Kaza, to really have something fast, convenient, something you can do on our own, and something you can do for 3, 4, 5% of the costs than before, getting videographer in and stuff. So that's the value proposition, and that's for many products the things which are guiding us.
Magnific. I love it. It's the other day I met the guy of, do you know Magnific? The app that was like acquired wise. There is so many people in AI, very, very interesting. So yeah, thank you very much to both of you. I love this. I hope to see you very soon in drinking a coconut in paradise. Okay.
Sounds perfect. Count us in for the winter.
Now, yeah, very important. For the next winter, we'll have even more facilities, because now we are bringing the furniture and everything. I mean, it's a little bit far from Europe, but it's a perfect excuse to travel not only like 1 week, and stay for 1 month.
Exactly.
Yeah, and enjoy. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Carlos.
Thanks for having us, Carlos.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.